clicked go live.
Oh.
Hello. Like I clicked go live. There we are. Monica, welcome. Where are you joining us from? I have a friend who has the same last name. His name is Alberto Marangoni. So, how are you today, Paul?
I'm okay, but my internet is a disaster. So for this lesson, Terry will be speaking 95%.
I'm sorry. I apologize now for boring you to death. So we have Monica and Beatrice. Tell us where you're from. And today we're talking about something. Ivano from Naples, from Napoli. Welcome. So I'm from the United States. I'm from Seattle, which is in the Pacific Northwest. So it's all the way in the corner, almost to Canada. And I feel really fortunate to have grown up there because we had so many activities, summer and winter. Skiing in the summer, hiking and snowshoeing in the summer, and in the winter, water skiing, parasailing, rock climbing. So just a lot of different things. And I know you're not going to talk much, Paul, but let's see if you can make your internet work long enough to tell us some of your hobbies in Ireland. No.
Favorite hobby, CrossFit. Nothing more.
That is a worldwide hobby. I know a lot of people in America who do CrossFit as well. So I want to say hello to everyone. We have Monica from Navarro near Milan. We have Beatrice. Beatrice, I don't see where you're from, but that's all right. Ivano from Napoli. Alice from Venice. Welcome, Alice from Venice. Excellent. Simona from the south of Italy. I'm trying to... Apulia. Okay. Gianfranco from Modena. Excellent. So Monica's favorite hobby is swimming. Simona from Bari, welcome. I saw before that someone said, you, Paul, your favorite hobby is eating pizza from Naples. It's really good. All right. So Beatrice, Abruzzo at the moment, but from Teramo. Excellent. So welcome. Today we're going to talk about hobbies. So as we begin this, tell us some of your favorite hobbies. But we're going to talk about hobbies, also present perfect continuous, and using for and since. Maria Elena from Pescara, welcome. Alice, my favorite hobby is to train at the gym. But during this period, I developed a new hobby, baking cakes. Baking cakes. Alice, I have been baking so much. Bread and cakes and pizzas. Even though, my hobby is, where'd it go? My hobby is sailing. Beautiful. And the waters around Italy must be absolutely fabulous for sailing, I would imagine. I went sailing once from Cagliari in Sardinia, just 3 days, but absolutely incredible just to be out on the water away from the land. Very lucky, Simona, my favorite hobby is listening to music and spending time at the Trulli. You have a Trulli down there in Puglia. I went to the Trulli 2 years ago, 2 summers ago, and it's fabulous. Beatrice, my favorite hobby is reading books. During this quarantine, I read a lot. Me too. I am reading about a book every 5 days. What is the most beautiful water I have seen? I have to say, I think the most beautiful water I have ever seen is in Puglia. I have been to Sardinia, Puglia, Calabria, and the water in Puglia was just spectacular. It was the clearest water I have ever seen. Gianfranco says, my hobbies are jogging. We don't need do. My hobbies are jogging, swimming, and playing again with my little grandson. Oh, that sounds so much fun. Paul's favorite hobbies are, you corrected the other one. Thank you, Paul. All right. I agree, Simona. The sea is fantastic in Puglia. All right, so let's go on. And I will answer these questions. And Paul, if you could answer also in the chat, and all of you, answer along in the chat. Paul is having internet problems. And so I don't want you to just have to listen to me for an hour, blah, blah, blah. Boring. So,
Sorry.
No, it happens. It's happening all across the country. 2 government sites today. I tried to access 2 government sites, IMPS, and they were both down. So, Monica, I usually go to Rio Marina and to Cavo on Isola d'Elba every summer in July, and the water is fantastic. You're right. So tell us, what is your current hobby? Okay, wait, one rule for today. Your current hobby does not have to be your quarantine hobby. Okay, let's imagine that the quarantine did not take place. So let's imagine for a moment that that our hobby is not baking and reading and sleeping because we cannot leave, okay? So imagine your normal life a month ago. It seems so long ago. And tell us, what is your current hobby and when did you decide to take it up? So I know, Paul, your hobby is going to the gym and especially doing CrossFit, correct?
Absolutely.
So excellent, healthy hobbies. And you're going to take an internet detox in June. I'm right there with you, Paul. I can't wait to not be tied to my computer.
I think that's when realistically things will be better.
I think you're right. I'm praying for May 1st, but I think you're right. So Simona says, and please, as always, give us complete sentences. This gives us a chance to help you, especially I know your level's 8 to 10, so you've come quite some way, but sometimes prepositions, articles are still a little bit tricky. So give us complete sentences, like this beautiful sentence from Alice. My current hobby is to train at the gym. Well, not right now. I see that, Simona. Your sentence was split. Okay, so Simona says, my current and most interesting hobby is right? It's in pieces, speaking and improving my English. Well done, Simona. And the best way you can improve your English is to speak more. Read aloud, repeat sentences. The more that you speak, the more natural it will seem, it will feel. Okay? Excellent. Elisabetta, hi, welcome from Rome. Monica says, my current hobby is swimming. I started when I was a baby. Excellent, beautiful, Monica. So Paul's current hobby is watching Netflix and listening to podcasts. They are my ways of improving my Spanish. Excellent. Okay, John Franco, as I said, my hobbies are jogging and swimming. But after retirement, my new hobby is to study English. My hobbies are, but after retirement. So, John Franco, are you retired now? And capital E for English. Thank you, Paul. John Franco, are you retired now? And is your hobbies to study English now? Or after retirement, your hobby will be? All right. Monica, I listen to Radio UK to improve my English. Fabulous. Well done. I also watch a lot of series in Spanish. For you, Paul, English is not my best language. Fortunately, I find your English school via web. I found your English school via webinar. Thank you for joining us, Alice. All right. So, my current hobby before quarantine was to explore. I love Italy, and my hobby, and I took this hobby up 5 years ago when I came to Italy. Some weekends, I will just get on a train. I go to the station and see the next train leaving, and maybe I would buy a ticket from Florence to Milan. But as I would approach a station, it's like, this little town seems very quaint, very charming. So I hop off the train and go explore. So that's my favorite hobby. So question 2, tell me, everyone, do you tend to start a lot of hobbies but get bored quickly? But Christina says, my current hobby is photography. I decided to take it up when I bought my first camera. Excellent. So one thing, and this is a really common mistake that non-native speakers make. In Italian, we say io, and it's always minuscolo, always small letters. But in English, this is always the capital, maiuscolo, capital. So io in English is I with a capital letter. Okay? That never changes, but this is a really common mistake that I see every day. My current hobby is going to dance school. I like to dance. I started 3 years ago. Excellent, Beatrice. Perfect structure. Thank you. So, Paul, do you tend to start a lot of hobbies but get bored quickly?
Yes.
Okay. I do sometimes. I'll start a hobby, but more or less with the idea to try it out. But for me, if I try it out more than 2 weeks and I don't like it, then I give it up. But if I like it, I don't usually get bored. Monica says, no, I don't prefer. I don't prefer to choose one sport or hobby. Okay, thank you, Monica. Simona, I learned when I was younger, not getting too much hobbies together in order to have some result. So, Simona, are hobbies countable or uncountable? If they're countable, it's not much, but anybody? Anybody? It's Paul says, yeah, I know. It's many. Okay. Alice, I usually start a lot or lots of hobbies, but then my life takes, third person, takes the upper hand over them. I understand. Paul says, unfortunately, yes, I often lose interest. But what about you guys? So I'm seeing that maybe it's not that you lose interest like Alice, but life takes over and you don't have time. Okay. One sport, one successful, maybe. Okay. So and maybe it's better to just have one or two hobbies that you really love, that you can stay with, and that your life doesn't take over. Okay. Are there any activities you used to do but don't do anymore? This is a question for everybody. Are there any activities you used to do but don't do anymore? And why did you
Terry,
stop?
quick question.
Yes.
My internet is terrible, so you can tell them after. Used to. Explain used to, please.
Okay. So used to and would are ways that we express something that we did in the past that we don't do anymore. When I was young, I used to ice skate every day. I used to go to the ice rink before school at 5 o'clock in the morning. And then after school, I would return again and skate until the evening. So we use used to and would often in nostalgic ways to talk about something that we used to do or that we did do in the past that we don't do anymore. Great question, Paul. Thank you. So I used to ice skate. I was a competitive ice skater, and I stopped ice skating because of a serious injury to my right knee. So how about all of you? Okay. Monica says, in the past, I stopped my activity because I had some problems. Remember that S, some problems. So what was the activity, Monica? Gianfranco says, I used to play tennis many years ago, but I had to stop because of physical problems. Excellent, Gianfranco. One thing, you're spelling physical from an Italian perspective. So physical is not as it seems, because in English we use the PHY. Physical, PHY. Excellent structure though, Gianfranco, excellent. Capital I's makes me very happy. Ivano, I used to train box, but I changed city for a year and I stopped. So you changed cities and you used to train, we would just say, I used to train as a boxer or I used to box. But excellent. Wow, boxer. Lots of strength. Okay. So excellent point, Paul. Thank you. We don't use would with stative verbs. So I can say, I used to go to the ice arena every morning before school. I can also say, I would go to the ice arena every morning before school, because go is an active verb. It expresses action. When I was a child, love, I used to love ice skating. We can use used to. Love is a state of verb, a state of being, a state of feeling. So I can say I used to love, but I can't say I would love, because that becomes conditional. I would love a gelato. All right. If that's not clear, please tell us, but trying to make sure that that one is definitely clear. Monica had problems with her shoulder. Okay. A few years ago, I used my bike. I used to use my bike a lot. But when I moved to a different city, my habits changed. Alice, great. Okay. And I used to kickbox. So when we say used to, we use the verb in the infinitive, not in the gerund form. I used to kickbox, but I like to change activities. Excellent. Thank you for all of this interaction. It makes me very happy. I would go to the beach when I was young and with my grandparents. I would make sand castles. Very nostalgic, Paul. That sounds like a beautiful memory.
It is.
It does. Sounds fabulous. When I was young, I usually used to swim. So we don't need usually because,
Present simple. I usually go.
I usually go. I used to swim. So even if it's usually, Maria Elena, we're talking about something that didn't happen one time. To use this structure, it had to be something that you usually or often did. So we don't need to add usually. When I was young, I used to swim, but I stopped because I had a backache. I had a backache. Okay. Really great, everybody. So this last question, are you an adrenaline junkie? Now, adrenaline is that chemical that comes from your brain when you're doing something that feels dangerous or something that requires a lot of effort. Junkie is almost like a dependency. If we say someone is a junkie, usually we are talking about drugs, and it's a dependency on something. So an adrenaline junkie is someone who becomes, in a sense, addicted to the adrenaline rush of doing dangerous or really exciting activities. Okay? All right. So are you an adrenaline junkie? We'll get more into that question as we go along. Okay. So here are some different hobbies or activities and some categories that you can use to describe these activities. I wish you were with me, Paul, because I would have you read, please. So we have hunting, skydiving, rowing, fishing, collecting, kayaking, gardening, bowling,
Let me try.
paddleboarding. Go.
Bungee jumping. Wind surfing. Knitting. Hiking. Paragliding. Fencing. Rock climbing.
Thank you very much. So these belong in one of four categories: adrenaline junkie, outdoorsy, leisure, and sports. So, hunting. What category would you put hunting in? Okay, I want to share this for two reasons. First, because Simona has never had an adrenaline hobby. She's afraid of this. So, but remember, I have never had. The never goes in between the two verbs. Okay. A glass of red wine. Yeah, that would be lovely. All right. So hunting, Monica says hunting is a sport. Alice says it's outdoorsy. I agree with both of you.
Me too.
But for this particular, they put it in outdoorsy. What about skydiving? Paul, have you ever gone skydiving?
Yes, I have. I went 3 years ago, and it was in Ireland, in a city called County Wexford. There was a lot of green, and I was very, very nervous, and I had high adrenaline, but in the end, it was worth it.
I love skydiving. Absolutely. And you used a key word, Paul, adrenaline. Skydiving is so for now, let's forget this junkie part, okay? Let's talk about that category as adrenaline sports, okay? Or adrenaline activities. Because I also love skydiving, Paul, but I'm not a junkie. I don't depend on it for daily.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think adrenaline is associated with extreme sports, I think. So
Exactly.
rock climbing, definitely. Rock climbing is definitely adrenaline. I think I don't even like hunting. Sorry, I maybe you have a different opinion, but I think hunting shouldn't be even considered a sport because
Um,
that's just my perspective. But
it is
because
more of a, it's a hobby. I agree with you. I agree completely. There are sport hunters, but if they say I'm a sport hunter, it is not for the meat. It is only to
okay.
kill the animal and have a trophy, which I think is barbaric.
Oh, okay, yeah, me too. Me too.
All
Thank
right,
you.
so
I,
we
I
have
agree.
some great adrenaline. Christina, Alice, Monica, skydiving is adrenaline, rowing as a sport. Monica, Alice, Gianfranco, fabulous. So let's go a little bit faster through these so that we can get to the real meat of this lesson. Fishing. Fishing, I would say, is, well, I do fishing in the outdoors. Collecting. What are some things you can collect? Stamps,
Shells.
shells, good. So that doesn't sound like a very
Oh.
active sport, so I would put it in the category of leisure. All right.
Leisure. No? Leisure or leisure?
American English, leisure.
Okay.
British English,
Leisure. Leisure.
leisure. All right.
Boring, I think. Collecting.
I think so. All right. So kayaking is outdoorsy. They do have kayaking competitions, but It's not so common. Gardening is definitely leisure. Now, Alice says that collecting could also be
Mhm.
outdoorsy. Well, maybe if you
Mm,
were collecting shells or collecting butterflies.
Butterflies?
Butterflies.
Hmm. Or maybe coins is another one that people like to collect. Like, remember I gave you an American dollar
Yes.
or an American coin? I don't know why. I just have coins from Brazil as a memory, I think.
Sorry, Alice says not butterflies. All right. So gardening is leisure. Bowling is depends because bowling is an Olympic sport. And bowling is very active. So I don't know if I agree with this one. Paddleboarding is definitely a sport. Bungee jumping, adrenaline. Windsurfing, I would say windsurfing is a sport. Yeah, win. Knitting, leisure. Hiking, outdoorsy. Sorry, I'm going through these a little bit faster because I really want us to get to the next part of our lesson. Monica, bungee jumping is in the category of adrenaline junkie. You are correct. Hiking, outdoorsy, paragliding. Paragliding is great fun, and it is an adrenaline sport. Fencing is a sport, and rock climbing is another extreme sport or adrenaline sport. I agree, knitting is boring, Paul. Okay, so tell
I,
us.
I'll
Oh,
read just to give you a breather. And if the students cannot hear well after, you can read. Okay, so guys, I'm sorry about my internet. Can you hear me, Terry?
I can.
Okay, but I'm going to read very, very, very slowly. Okay, so it says fill in the blank with for, since, or the present perfect. So I have been running 3 years. I usually train with my friend. We run 10 half marathons and 1 marathon for since we started. Now we are training for our second marathon. I feel that I struggle, which guys means you have a lot of problems. Okay, you struggle with. You struggle. Well, I struggle with maths, for example, or you struggle with training if you have a bad shoulder, as one of our students said above. I don't like to run alone, but my friend have time to train with me recently. My aspiration is to finish in under 5 hours, but I'm afraid I won't reach my goal. So, guys, just a few important words. For and since, we use the present perfect with for when we talk about an action that started in the past, continues to the present. Okay? For example, I have lived in Florence for 3 months. I'm still here. It is unfinished. I have lived in Florence since June, or since January, excuse me. Am I still here? Yes, I am. Is it finished? No, it isn't. Okay? So that is when I use the present perfect for and since. It is the form is subject plus have or has plus the past participle. And that is basically it. I'm just speaking so Terry can catch her breath, take a breather, and she's already thinking about her bottle of wine. So there you go.
Thank you, Paul. Yes, she is. And we've had some great answers. I feel that I have struggled. Excellent, Monica. Excellent, Alice. So, one more to answer. We've had some great answers. People really seem to understand the for and since. Remember that that present perfect is have plus the past participle. So, run, it's that third column. Run, ran, run. Okay. So what is our last answer so that we can go on? I don't like to run alone, but my friend, negative, not have time.
Third person, guys.
Beatrice, you win.
Good.
Oh, sorry. No, hasn't had. Third person negative. Third person negative. Thank you, Paul. Okay. Now, if you have any questions about for, since, or present perfect, now is the time to ask. So just send them in the comments and we will begin responding immediately, because it's really important that you can use these structures, especially as we're going on to the present perfect continuous.
Good job,
Okay,
guys.
so,
Good job.
okay. So when do we use for and since? Okay, thanks, Monica. For a period of time, for a week, for a year, for the moment. No.
For a long
No.
time, for
For a
ages.
long time. Thank
For
you.
ages.
That's the one I was trying to find. Since a specific time, since 2002, since January, since I was a child. Okay. Oh, for as long as I can remember. Okay. So what are synonyms for challenge and goal? Give us a synonym for challenge and goal. Synonym for challenge. Exactly, Monica. Since a specific time. Perfect. Okay. I would say a synonym for goal is objective.
I would say so too. A synonym would be your, yeah, that's it. Objective. My goal. My ambition would be another. Like my
Oh,
ambition.
excellent. How about challenge?
That's a good question. Guys, another good website that I always tell my students to use. Again, if you can't hear me, I'm sorry. Terry will translate after. Wordreference.com.
Oh.
It's really good for synonyms. Okay, so sometimes as teachers, we can tell you one synonym, two synonyms, or an antonym. But you know, language is so diverse that sometimes we forget.
So challenge, I don't know. Focus is like attention. A synonym for challenge. Synonym for challenge. A challenge could be like a contest. Like this marathon was a contest against other people. It was his challenge. Synonym for challenge.
A dare. That's a good one by Ivano,
A
no?
dare.
Yeah,
Excellent.
good. Thank you, Ivano.
Thank you, because I didn't have it. Thank you
Yeah.
very much.
Yeah, a dare.
Okay.
A dare is a challenge. Good. Very good, Ivano.
Yes.
Excellent.
What is the difference between present perfect and present perfect continuous?
Can I answer?
Anybody? Please do, Paul.
Okay. Again, if my audio is bad, just say Paul can't understand. Okay, but I think it's like 5 out of 10. Okay. So present perfect. Think of one word, result. Present perfect continuous. Think of one word, activity. Okay. Since 6 o'clock, we have been learning English because it's an activity that is not finished. That is present perfect continuous. That would be an activity. Okay. For a result, imagine when it is 7 o'clock and you say, we have finished, or I have learned more vocabulary. Present perfect, because it's a result. Okay, so they are my 2 examples. I will write the examples in the chat.
Okay, and I'm just writing an example. So my examples are, I've read 2 books this week, and that is present perfect because it's finished and it focuses on the result. Now, I've been reading 2 books this week is the present perfect continuous, and it focuses on the fact that it's ongoing, unfinished, and the activity. We also use present perfect and present perfect continuous to talk about situations that are permanent and temporary. So, for example, permanent situation, the the fort has stood on the hill for hundreds of years. Present perfect has stood on the hill. It's a permanent situation. The boy has been standing at the gate for hours. It's a temporary situation. We know he will not permanently be there. It focuses on the ongoing activity it's temporary. If it's permanent, it's going to be present perfect. Would you agree, Paul?
Absolutely. I think they're the really good examples of explaining. Just to re-emphasize, when you said this week, I have read 2 books. You're finished reading. However, this week, I've been reading 2 books. You're in the process of doing it. So I think that's the easiest way to help people remember, but they're very good examples.
Well, let's give them a little bit of chance to first practice. I think everyone understands for and since. So I would like to skip this slide and give everyone a little bit of practice with the present perfect continuous. It's not this one either. Wait a minute. Where is it?
Or maybe the students can just write any examples of the present perfect and present perfect continuous, and we can correct. So as this is Terry's example, the boy has been standing at the gate for 20 minutes. So some concept checking questions. Terry, is it a permanent or temporary situation?
Absolutely temporary. We know the
Okay.
boy will not stand at the gate permanently.
Is it an activity or a result?
Definitely an activity.
Very good. So we use the present perfect continuous. Another important point as well is going back to stative verbs. We only use present perfect. I have always loved. I have always liked. I have always had. Okay, so had for ownership. So stative verbs is another difference between present perfect and present perfect continuous.
Excellent point. Thank you. I forgot to mention that we don't use continuous forms with stative verbs. That's really important. Alice, I've been baking cakes since this quarantine started. I baked an amazing pizza yesterday evening. That is fabulous. I just want to show you one thing. I'm learning the Italian way, and so
Oh,
I made a pizza on Saturday night.
wow.
So, me too, Alice. Okay. Now, perfect, Gianfranco. I've been listening to you since 6 p.m. because you are still with us. Absolutely fabulous. Continue with your comments. Let's make sure that we have a really good understanding of this. Give us both present perfect and present perfect continuous. And as John Franco did, use for or since. Alice also did a fabulous job using since this quarantine started, which was a specific time. Now, Monica, one thing, we don't need doing with swimming. I've been swimming since 1985. Other than take out doing, the rest, fabulous.
Very active as well. Very good way. Swimming, in my opinion, is one of the best ways to keep fit. When you go swimming, you're exercising all of your body. At the moment, I am doing swimming exercises as a CrossFit, where you maintain your back and it's like Superman. Perhaps Terry, you're familiar. You're on your stomach and you do Superman.
Okay. I'm thinking standing swimming, and I'm thinking, I don't know how. I don't know how.
Have a skateboard.
I've eaten a lot of pizza. Excellent, because you're not eating pizza now. It's finished. We're talking about the result. All right. Wonderful. Now, I could also, I've been cooking a lot in this week. I've been cooking a lot this week. I have cooked
many.
Thank you. Yeah, many good dishes. Excellent. Oh, Paul, do you want to take this one? So
I've studied Spanish for 5 years. Point of time since, okay, because it's a specific point of time. I've studied Spanish for 5 years since high school. Actually, I've studied at high school. I think that's so. I don't know, Terry. You.
No, the question is, are you still in high school? If you are not in high school, then the time is finished and you have to use the past simple. I studied Spanish for 5 years in high school, but if the time is not finished, I've studied Spanish for 5 years in high school. So it really depends.
It depends.
Yes. Sorry, but if you're still in high school, I would say I've been studying Spanish for 5 years in high school.
Absolutely.
Mm.
So, guys, that is it for today. And I'm sorry about my audio and internet, but maybe it's a little bit better. So, thank you so much. Have a great day. And ci vediamo presto. Ciao.